Hey lovelies, it's Kate. It's finally time for The Sims 4 Discover University. In my last video, I already created a little tutorial for waterfalls using The Sims 4 Discover University because we got a lot of fun debug objects with this pack. So if you want to build some waterfalls and if you own The Sims 4 Discover University, make sure to check out this video as well if you want to. But I had created a poll and you guys could vote what type of build you would like to see first using this pack, and the majority of you wanted me to remodel the dorms. This dorm is part of Britechester, it's Drake Hall, and I completely bulldozed the whole thing and remodeled it. I didn't just want to change the interior, I redid the whole thing and I really enjoyed it. Right after I saw the new windows that we would get in this pack, I was so excited for this, honestly. And there's always a difference from just seeing some room built with this stuff and doing it yourself. And I have to say now, after I've checked out all the new objects, I'm really pleased with all the new stuff that we got in this pack. As I said, especially the windows are amazing. Also the doors, which are of course matching to the windows. There are some beautiful roof decorations, a lot of really amazing things. I also can't wait to build something that's modern. I'm going to remodel one of the dorms in Foxbury Institute as well, and Foxbury has a very modern kind of style, and you guys know that I really enjoy to build modern stuff, and there are some really modern windows and objects. Of course I'm going to use all of them for this build, but first I wanted to build something in this style because, to be honest, I was most interested in using these windows first. They are beautiful. You could use them for any classy, beautiful, traditional build, really, not only for something like this. It's just absolutely breathtaking. The other objects are also really beautiful, but I have to say, when it comes to the furniture, a lot of this stuff is really beautiful, these beautiful little succulents and all that, but then at the same time some stuff isn't that beautiful, to be honest, which totally makes sense because this pack isn't for creating beautiful mansions and residential homes and all that. It's all about creating dorms. So the beds, for example, look like what you expect to see in a dorm. So it's not the most aesthetically pleasing bed ever. It won't win any type of design award probably, but the furniture overall is really solid. It looks really good and I'm really pleased with this pack. When I'm giving you guys feedback about a pack, I'm always doing that from a builder's perspective. I rarely play these days. I only build because all the time that I'm spending in The Sims 4 is in build mode usually, so I'm always giving you this type of feedback. What I also like is that there are many wall decorations or these flags and posters and stuff that has the theme of the two different universities. I think it's really great that we have two different universities in this pack. They have two completely different aesthetics and I really like this. I also like that when it comes to building, once again, you can do really different things. You can be really creative with this. I'm also really excited to finally build a tiny home for you guys. This was also part of the vote, and as I already said in the poll, I just wanted to know what you guys want me to build first, but I'm also going to build the rest of it. There's going to be a tiny home, there's going to be a mansion build at some point, townhouses, but for this pack I have to say I don't want to focus on these very typical mansion builds, which are very typical for me because this is what I really enjoy doing the most usually, but this is a university pack, so of course it makes sense to build some dorms and off-campus housing and stuff like this. So this pack is absolutely not about creating beautiful mansions, but when you look at these wonderful windows, the columns, the roof decorations, the wall color and all that stuff, it's just perfect to create any type of mansion or even a townhouse, because with this pack we can now finally have roommates. This isn't exclusive to Britechester. You can build a house in any world, you can create some townhouses or apartments and you can have some roommates. So it finally makes sense to build townhouses or little villages even. I mean, if you like to build on a 64x64 lot, if you want to be really creative and you have some type of village almost, then it all makes sense finally. Before that we could also lock doors, but it just wasn't the same really, and I'm really excited about this, so I'm definitely going to create a couple of townhouses and all that. So there will be a lot of Discover University content. You guys know whenever a pack comes out I really focus on this pack and I'm really excited this time. I mean, some packs are more fun than others when it comes to building, and you guys know that I wasn't really excited for university, but now I'm just so motivated and hyped. I have so much fun building these things. It's just amazing, and I didn't really expect this before Island Living. For example, when Island Living was announced, I was super hyped, and it was an amazing pack. I really liked to build in this world and all that, but now it's kind of a surprise to me that I really enjoy it as much as I do, so I can totally recommend it from a builder's perspective. It's a great pack. The only thing that's missing for me would be a bigger lot. I would like to have one big 50 by 50 or maybe even 64 by 64 lot, but in this world they focused more on having more lots than having only a few bigger ones, which also is a good thing. This makes this world more versatile. There's a lot of stuff going on. We have the 2 different universities. We have an area for off-campus housing, so there's a lot of stuff going on in this world, which totally makes sense, but just one bigger lot would have been perfect and it would have been a dream. But I'm really pleased with this pack all in all, and also let me know in the comments down below what you think about this pack so far, if you enjoy it, if you've already bought it, if you're planning to get it. It's just amazing in my opinion. So for this build, as I said, I wanted to go the very traditional route. I mean, you have the building at the bottom and then you are just building on top. It's technically just a penthouse. It's the same system that the penthouses use in city living. There's no difference really. Once again, you have an elevator that doesn't really have any type of animation. The Sims just disappear in the elevator and they come out, so it's not really a proper elevator, which is something that a lot of people have been wishing for, I know, but it's the same system. You can bulldoze the whole thing, then you can rebuild on top of it. I think for stories, I'm not even that sure. I checked at first, but I forgot already. You can just create whatever you like. There's some stuff that you have to place, a shower, a couple of beds, I think 4, a toilet and stuff like this. Just all these things, mailbox, or you cannot save to your library or the game in general, which is why at some point here I just placed some stuff randomly at the top floor. I just dumped it there so I would be able to save, because I'm super paranoid. I always have to save. I'm saving all the time really. I'm just super anxious that the game crashes, especially when I feel like that this turns out to be something good, because sometimes I'm starting to build something and I already notice, okay, this is not it. I'm going to just bulldoze the whole thing again. But when I really think, okay, this could be good, then I save a lot. So I just had to dump all the stuff up there so I would be able to save, and then I started to work on the interior. For this build, I only had one thing in mind. I wanted to have the section in the front that is 2 stories high, has a rounded roof on top, and then the 2 big windows in the center. Then I decided that I would like to have some arches at the bottom. They are part of Get Famous, totally amazing. And while I was building this, I already noticed that these packs go together so well. The whole aesthetic to create some type of really traditional, classy, lavish, over-the-top mansion maybe. I think that Get Famous really complements this pack. So if you're into these type of builds, I can recommend this. Again, from a builder's perspective, I think that it's really great. I also used a Jungle Adventure wall object. It's a wall decoration. I used it as some type of cornerstone. This is also something that I would have loved to see in this pack for once. One really proper, beautiful cornerstone. Nothing that's just integrated into a wallpaper. It's just not the same look. It doesn't stand out. This is where I like to use this Jungle Adventure object. This is something that I would have loved to have in this pack really, because it would have gone so well with the whole style and aesthetic. But I just used this object, so I just used different things, and then it just kind of came along. It just came together. It was really tricky with the roofing at first, which is why I then added another story, because I had no idea what to do with the roof really behind the section that I just mentioned, the 2-story high section with the round roof on top. It just, I don't know, just added more stuff, the round balcony in the front. And then I really liked how it looked. What I also did was I used the wallpaper that is part of the building at the bottom. As I said, it's just a penthouse build technically, so you cannot change the build underneath. They just give you some building and then you build on top, so of course you kind of have to make it match in a way. So I used the same wallpaper, and then I just added another wallpaper because I thought it would be too boring to just have this color all over the build. I didn't want to do that, so I just used it as some type of accent color. It's a brick wall. It's super beautiful. There are all these details at the top and at the bottom, absolutely stunning. They totally nailed it when it comes to the wallpapers. There's some beautiful brick wallpapers and just some type of natural looking stone and all that, but there's only one flaw. Again, one point of criticism that I have to make, only one flaw. I don't understand that. I would have loved to have the matching floors for these wallpapers. I mean, I understand that there's only a limited number of stuff that we can get in an expansion pack. Also, this pack is way more about gameplay than other packs, which is good in my opinion. But this is something that I would have loved to have, to be honest. But I understand that, and I think it's great that there was such a heavy focus on gameplay. And from what I've heard, it seems to be very tricky. It seems to be very challenging when you enroll your Sims into different causes and all that. I have no idea, I haven't played it yet myself, but it seems to be very tricky and challenging, which is a good thing, because I remember after Island Living came out and people started to play, many people said it's too simple and you don't have anything to do, there's nothing left to do really. And I really like that they stepped up their game when it comes to gameplay here, because I said this before, it's probably one of the most anticipated packs ever. A university pack is all about the gameplay, and now just imagine if the gameplay would have been boring, horrible, too easy, it would have been a huge letdown. So I'm really glad that it seems to be a very solid pack when it comes to this, and for a pack that has a very heavy focus on gameplay, I'm also very, very pleased with all the stuff that we got for building. For the interior, I placed 10 beds in total. I checked this yesterday on Twitter actually. I tweeted if someone could help me because I had no idea. I missed this piece of information completely, but there is a maximum of 10 beds in each dorm, so not beds, Sims actually, but I placed just one bed for each Sim, so there's a maximum of 10 Sims including your Sim. So I placed 10 beds, and some of the rooms have 2 beds on the inside, and there are some bigger, more luxurious rooms, if you will, that only have 1 bed, and also on the level where you have only 1 bed in each room, it's just a bigger room if you want to have that luxury basically. I didn't include a mini fridge or something, but on the hallway I built a little kitchen. You cannot place a stove, you cannot build a proper kitchen, but you can just place a couple of counters. I placed a sink, a dishwasher, and then microwaves and a fridge. This is what works. You cannot add any stoves to any type of university housing, and I'm totally happy that this is the case for the dorms because it's realistic. They were trying to make a pack that kind of represents the American university experience. But what I think is not cool is that any type of university housing cannot use a stove. So even if you build a small off-campus house, not in the dorms, just a tiny house in Britechester, you cannot have a stove. And this is not realistic because when you go home in the evening, you live off campus, you have a tiny house, then of course you also have a stove probably. This doesn't make sense, but well, as I said, I didn't dive into the gameplay, but this is something that would totally bother me if I would play this, which I actually plan to do soon, but this is something that I don't understand really. These are my thoughts on this pack. So far, this is the first thing that I've built with this pack. I'm starting to build the next thing right after recording this voiceover, so this are my first impressions, you could say. I might gather a couple of more thoughts about this pack after I've built more stuff. I mean, this is just the very first build, but these are just my first impressions, you could say, and I always try to give you guys a honest feedback, again, from a builder's perspective, because I'm just a builder. This is what I can give you guys my honest opinion on, and I all in all think that this is a really solid pack. I also think that Vampires is a pack that really matches this, so if you are into these type of buildings here, I would recommend Get Famous and the Vampires pack. And if you really want to have these fake cornerstones, then I can also recommend Jungle Adventure, which is a very odd pack actually for a build like this when you think about it, because of the whole jungle theme. But there are a couple of things in this pack. The floor, for example, is also part of it, and the floor matches the wall color at least a little bit. As I said, there's no matching floor in this pack, but the floor of Jungle Adventure is just amazing for a build like this. And this is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. As always, you can find this build in the gallery. My ID is KateEmerald, but you can also find all the information down below in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye!